everyone.
Good morning.
We lost Mr. There he is. Okay. Welcome to the February 9th, 2023 meeting of the Code Enforcement Board. Meeting will now come to order. Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call, please?
Here.
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 It's kind of here. Okay. I don't know. Mr. Gonzalez isn't. I mean, do we need a motion to excuse or? Did he call in? So
He might be on his way.
So he may be on his way.
I'll make the motion to excuse him in case he doesn't show up.
Okay. Motion to excuse Ms. Roby. Second. Second. Ms. Marsh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. And I know somebody new was appointed to the board, but I think they'll be here next month.
Oh,
But we
nice.
don't know the name?
I do not remember the name.
Well, it'll be on the internet, on the,
Yeah, it probably is.
yeah.
It probably is. Okay. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Any additions or corrections?
Madam Chair, I move to accept the minutes with necessary corrections that be added.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to approve, Ms. Himes, second. Ms. Marsh, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. And by the way, we do have a quorum, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're good. Okay. Anybody need to disclose any ex parte communications? Madam Secretary, do we have any announcements?
Yes, ma'am. Page 7. Case 18, CEB 02-2332, 510 South Peninsula Drive is in compliance as of 2/6/23.
Okay.
It's number 15.
18
18.
on page
7.
7.
That's it.
That's it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, will our code officers please stand up and be sworn in?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, everybody, here's our procedure. We will be calling the cases by number and for the most part in order as they are listed on the agenda. If there are any attorneys present, we'll hear those cases first if they have a court date they need to get to. And if there are any police officers that need to get back on duty, we will, and if they're scheduled to testify, we'll listen to those cases first. Otherwise, we just go in order. When your case is called, please come forward, be sworn in, state your name and address for the record. And if you're not the owner of the property, please state your relationship to the owner of the property. Our proceedings are recorded, everything's recorded, so please speak directly into the mic. The board will hear from the code officers first, and then you'll be given an opportunity to respond. Witnesses sometimes are here, and they also will be able to speak if they've been sworn in. If we're not finished by 11, we'll take a break. So we'll get started. And the first thing we're going to do are our lien reviews. And we'll start with lien review 1. CEB 05-21-157, Michael Alvarez, 622 Clark Street. Mr. Alvarez here. Good morning.
Morning.
State your name and address for the record.
Michael Alvarez, 622 Clark Street.
Okay.
Will you raise your right hand, sir?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Did I miss the hardship letter? Did anybody see a hardship letter in there?
It's the first page.
First page.
Oh, well, isn't that, my first page didn't have that. Okay, let me read that. Would you give me 1 second and let me read that? Okay.
It takes you back, doesn't it?
Now we're old. Oh, my God. Now, gosh. Hey,
Okay.
uh,
All right.
Late as usual.
Okay.
oh, my.
Good morning, Mr. Stenson.
Good morning.
Good
What would
morning,
you like
Mr.
to-
Gonzalez.
Oh, all right. Please make a note, Mr. Gonzalez is present.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Okay. Uh, What would you, Mr. Stenson, what would you like to tell us about this property? And what the city's asking, or do we want him to go first?
We'll let him go
All right.
first.
Mr. Alvarez, what would you like to tell us about this property?
Well, you got the hardship letter.
I did, I
Okay.
read it.
The only thing I would like to add is that the cost of all the materials really went up during the period. As you all know, when we started those, at that time, we probably had a 2x4 that was worth $3. By the time I was finishing, it was over $8. So the cost of everything was like exorbitant.
So cost went up
Way,
exponentially.
way up.
Yeah.
Everything went
Fill
up.
me in, are you the contractor?
I'm the owner.
Okay.
And it took quite a bit to get it to where it's at right there. Everything was changed, windows, everything,
Big difference.
Huge.
totally.
Nice. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Stenson.
Good morning, Inspector Stenson. My qualifications are on file. This case started on August 16th of 2018. As you can tell by the photographs, this property was almost ready for condemnation and demolition. However, Mr. Alvarez took over the property. There were 17 inspections performed. I've had multiple contacts with the property owner. As you can see, the end result is a whole lot better than what it was, and the city is recommending that the fine or lien be reduced to $2,000.
Okay, any
Make a
discussion
motion
from
to
the board?
accept that recommendation that we reduce the fine to $2,000.
Okay. There's a second to that?
Second.
All right, there's been a motion made to reduce the amount of the lien to $2,000, subject to being paid within 30 days, or the fine will revert to the original amount. The motion was made by Mr. Harrington and seconded by Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
So we reduced it for you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, sir.
She did.
She said that.
Oh, okay. Moving on to lien review number 2, CEB 06-20-132, 315 Fulton. Respondent present, this is Kayla Scanlon. No one's here. Interesting.
She's on Zoom, I believe.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry. Okay. All right, what would you like to tell us?
Will you, be sworn in?
Oh, I'm sorry, you need to be sworn in.
Thank you.
Will you raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, what would you like to tell us?
So this property was left to my brothers and myself in a will. My grandmother, Marguerite Waters, passed away in August of 2020. So that's right around, I believe, when the lien started or was imposed. We did not gain full ownership until August of 2021. I do have that documentation if needed. So I'm asking if we can reduce or release the fine.
Okay. So you're in New Hampshire?
Yes, so I'm in New Hampshire, and unfortunately, we've been dealing also with squatters on the property. So we've been doing our best. The fence is finally clean. But yeah, I'm all the way up in New Hampshire.
Okay, okay. What is, well, all right. Good morning.
Good morning.
We will talk to Mr. Garcia, let him tell us about the case now.
Good morning, Daniel Garcia, credentials on file with the City of Daytona. This was given a site inspection on, it was done on July 10, 2019, and the case was field generated for the fence containing mold, mildew, dirt, and grime. And the case was heard by the code board back on July 23, 2020. The owner was not present, and it was found in non-compliance and was ordered to be in compliance by September 5th, 2020, where a fine was imposed for $300 a day, capped at $10,000. After 10 re-inspections done, to include one of the re-inspections done by a...
How many?
10.
10. Okay.
And one to include by a supervisor. It wasn't in compliance then, but compliance afterwards on February 2nd, 2023. I had met with someone on the property that claimed that he was a cousin and that he would take care of it. So I periodically did drive-bys when I was in the area and noticed that he was doing it by hand when it was told that they would pressure clean it all. But it was done. Staff's requesting to reduce the fine to $5,000.
Okay, was the fence the only thing in
That was
question?
the only thing.
Okay. But
It was-
who had ownership of the house?
It was Waters, Miss Waters,
Until she passed away, right?
correct.
Were there, did you say something, Kayla, about squatters?
Yeah, so unfortunately, the man he was referring to, that my cousins, they've been on the property refusing to leave. And so that's been another battle, trying to get the house to a state of where we can sell it and improve the house. So yeah, they've been living there. The water was turned off. I've been dealing with that
Are
as
they
well.
still living there now?
Without our permission, yes, they're still in the house. We're in the process of selling, and we're going to have some help with eviction.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
okay. Comments from the board?
Yeah, I have a question. So, this started in 7/23 of 20. I noticed the notification.
Right.
And then
I-
compliance, 19, okay. The compliance they came into compliance
Just-
on most of it recently,
Just recently, February 2nd,
right? But
2023.
are they in full compliance?
Yes, yes, the only thing was the fence. It was the interior and exterior of the fence that was complete, it had mold and mildew. And we had tried to get them to take care of that, and we was unable to.
So the fence still needs to be,
No, it's in compliance, it's completely done. There's a compliance picture at the end, which is right there.
okay,
You'll see it all white now.
thank you.
But this cousin isn't really a cousin then, I suspect.
He's a cousin. He's not supposed to be there, though. We've tried many times to get him to leave, and he will not.
But that,
So I'm wondering, I don't see it in here, but why it was $300 a day for a fence, mold on a fence, or a piece of fence broken? There must have been something else going on.
I think
in
it's
it.
because she never showed up or we never.
There was no shop, I'm not sure if there was outside storage included with that, but this was the only thing remaining at the time.
Well,
Yeah.
what's listed here is a dirty fence, and I don't think a dirty fence requires a $10,000 fine.
That was the reason why I reduced it.
Yeah, it just kept going up and up.
Yeah.
Even 5,000, it seems,
Yeah.
we had a couple of $1,000s worth of effort into it, so that's $2,000-3,000 seems reasonable to me, but 5 seems a little
Is that
excessive.
a motion?
I make a motion that we reduce it to $2,000.
All right, Ms. Marsh has made a motion to reduce the amount of lien to $2,000, subject to being paid within 30 days. The fine will revert to the original amount. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, thank you. So
Thank you.
need to get in touch with, and get that paid within 30 days.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck getting those people out.
Hmm?
Good luck getting those people out.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right, let's go to lien review number 3. That would be CEB 10-20-191 Dorothy Mayhew at 410 Henry Butts Drive.
In this case, we're asking to,
Coming up. State your name and address for the record and be sworn in, please.
James Plant, I'm the contractor, and the address is 410 Harry Butts Drive, and Dorothy Mayhew is the owner.
And she's what?
She's the owner, Dorothy Mayhew.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yeah.
if you would, let Danny go ahead and speak first.
we're going to make it easy on you. We're asking to waive this.
But
this.
he needs to be sworn in, though.
Oh,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so this was part of the Florida Rebuild Program and everything?
correct.
Okay, so the city's asking to waive this. Such a motion?
So moved.
All right, Ms. Hines made a motion to
We waiving it or dismissing it?
Waiving.
waiving the lien amount in its entirety.
Yeah.
There's a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. And on to lien review number 4.
Sorry, I don't have.
CEB 04-21-111. Good morning.
Good morning.
State your name and address for the record.
So I am Christine Henley, sister of Robert Matuzak. My address is 705 East Lake Drive, Columbia, Missouri. I inherited this property, 262 Lexington Drive.
Ma'am,
So,
What, be sworn
you
in
just,
first.
okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I'm asking that you dismiss or greatly reduce the lien, please. This is a very unfortunate situation. My brother, Robert, was a quadriplegic of 32 years. And the last 2.5 years, he literally did not get out of bed unless he was taken to the hospital. I remember when this was happening, I was trying to manage some of this from afar. I think we got some of it done, but I didn't realize there was still residual. And I'm not sure Robert knew about it even. So anyway, he died Thanksgiving night, and
What year?
just this year.
Okay.
And
Was he
I-
still living in the house?
Yes.
Okay.
He was still living in the house with multiple squatters, which are now
Right.
gone. He would bring in people that would have bodies, able bodies, and had needs, and hope that they would help him and take care of him, and they didn't. And they didn't take care of his property, and it was totally trashed. And, you know, he was taken advantage of. So I think it was around December 6th, I had come down, and Danny told me about the lien. I had no awareness of it before that, and so I have since cleaned it all up. And they condemned it in order to get rid of the squatters. And You know, I've just taken on a huge situation and trying to handle it to the best of my ability. And I'm asking for your forgiveness and understanding in this situation, please.
Danny?
Well, I could start by saying Ms. Henley was the only one I had, was in contact with. But the site inspection was done on March 12, 2020, and the case was it was a citizen complaint for outside storage. The case was heard at the Code Board on May 13, 2020, and the owner was not present at the time. I guess she was unable to attend, and found that the property is in non-compliance with a fine of $100 a day, capped at $10,000. I did a total of 8 re-inspections on the property, and the compliance was achieved on January 13, 2023, which was just recently. I met Ms. Henley on the property, where she gathered up the remaining material left over. Based on the facts of the health condition of her brother and the squatters being in there, taking advantage of him and whatnot, staff's requesting to reduce the fine down to $5,000.
What's going on with the house now?
It's going to be demolished. It's,
Oh, we don't know that. I'm appealing.
you're appealing? Okay.
Okay.
Next week, you'll see me again.
That's fine. No, you'll go to a different board.
Okay.
Okay.
So he had an electric bill and a water bill that was so high that they came and turned everything off. That's how that happened. And then with no water, they had the right to condemn it, is my understanding. But yeah, it was a huge mess, inside and out.
So I have a question.
Go
Yes.
ahead.
So who was the owner, you or your brother?
I'm sorry?
The owner, who was it, you or your
My
brother?
brother owned it at the time. He had an estate deed, so as soon as he died, I inherited it. And I am immune compromised, and so I couldn't be traveling down during COVID time. And he's my younger brother, 9 years younger, my baby brother. And I always tried to help him to the best of my ability, but I just couldn't.
What's your recommendation? City's recommendation?
We reduced it 50%, down to $5,000.
I make a motion that we accept the city's recommendation to lower the lien to $5,000 in the case CEB 0421-111, 262 Lexington Drive, and to allow 30 days for the fine to be paid.
Is there a second to that? Okay, that motion fails for lack of second. Would somebody else like to make a motion?
Or make the motion. I didn't quite hear, this is going to be demoed, or you are protesting?
I'm appealing it because the only reason they were going to condemn it is because of the squatters and the lack of water.
And are the squatters are out now?
They're all out.
So you're not going to live in it, you're going to use it as a rental when you,
Well, I'm looking to sell it.
oh, you're looking,
It's just got too much emotional stuff for me to handle it anymore.
well, I'll make a motion to reduce it to $3,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second that one.
All right, Mr.
And that's subject to being paid within 30 days.
Right, subject to being paid within 30 days. Mr. Harrington made that motion to reduce to $3,000, subject to being paid within 30 days, and Ms. Roby made a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
Oppose.
Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. 3,000? What?
I said it was 6 members. Was it 5 to 1 or 4? You said 4.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, 5-1. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, all done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll now move on with the old cases, continued cases. Case number 1, CEB 01-23-20, Brent and Jennifer Crawley. Anyone responding here? Okay.
Good morning, Mark Jones,
John.
Code Compliance. My credentials are on file. Since last hearing, I've had no contact from the owners. There has been no progress, no permit applications or permits issued. Staff recommends a fine of $100 a day with a cap of $10,000.
This occupied
Yes,
by the owners.
by the owners.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make the motion to accept the city's recommendation on CEB 012320 for finding $100 a day. So 15,000?
No, 10,000.
10,000 to 10,000,
Starting today.
starting today.
Okay. Ms. Roby made motion, and Ms. Himes the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Case number 2, CEB 07-22-161, Liliosa Bohinski Estate. Anyone representing? Okay. We have a Zoom. Okay. Okay.
That's number 3
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, all right. So no one's here from the estate. The owner's deceased. It's in probate. What else?
Good morning.
Good morning.
In regards to this property, 401 North Oleander, there is a new owner since December
Oh.
8th, 2022. The new owner is 401 North Oleander LLC. We wish to amend this case to the April cutoff so we could add the new owner and provide sufficient notice.
Till April?
April cutoff, please, yes.
Why are we waiting till April?
To give them the exactly 30 days requirement
Oh, I
that is
see.
required.
So that fulfills the city
ma'am.
notification
Yes, ma'am.
requirements. Okay.
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
They know of the violations in the,
I've spoken to him. He's
Several.
aware of it, and then at that point, he will have the official notice from the secretary indicating what needs to be done. And please forgive me, those are not the right pictures. I messed up there.
This lien is on record with the county.
It's not a lien yet.
not-
I'm sorry, the sale is on record, yes.
The sale is-
The sale is on record, correct.
so do we need to make a motion to have this?
Yeah, to amend the previous order of noncompliance.
Okay.
And to allow respondent to come into compliance by the April cutoff date, which is 4/5/2023.
Excuse me, Madam
Be
Chair.
returned to a subsequent meeting for a fine of up to,
Excuse me, Madam Chair, can you add the new owner as well?
Yes.
okay.
And
Until compliance is achieved, and also to add the new owner to the complaint.
Right, according to the Volusia County property person, new owner is 401 North Oleander LLC, and the registered agent is Frank Lance at 311 Riverview Boulevard, Daytona Beach, Florida, 32118.
All right, so we have a motion from Ms. Roby. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Marsh. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Case number 3 is by Zoom. CB 09-22-205, L Lots LLC, 590 Shady Place. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Jacob Stoll, 2921 South Summeron Boulevard, Orlando, Florida, 32114. The property is, 590 Shady Place.
Yeah. Okay, please be sworn in.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you repeat your name for me, please?
Jacob Stoll,
Spell that.
JACOB STOLL.
Just like it sounds. Okay.
Will you raise your right hand?
Yep.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Sir, can you tell us what your relationship is to L-Lots LLC?
I am an owner.
Okay.
Okay, good morning.
What did your company do?
We buy distressed properties and fix them up.
So you're thoroughly familiar with the regulations in various communities about permits and so forth?
I wouldn't say so familiar. Every ordinance is a little bit different, but I mean, this isn't my first rodeo.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Ms. Kirk, good morning.
Good morning. Sarah Kirk, Inspector with the city. My credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, I have had contact with Mr. Stolz. There has been progress. We're waiting on a couple permits to be finalized. Staff is requesting to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
Okay. What would you like? Do you have anything you'd like to say, Mr. Stoll?
Sure. As Ms. Kirk stated, we've been in contact. I have also been in contact with the city. Most of the 90% of the permits have been closed out. The electrical, the HVAC, the code, the liens for the unsafe staircase, the windows, the stucco, all of those have been closed out. The only one we are waiting on now to be closed out is the driveway, which should have been submitted to be closed out late last week. So if it shouldn't be this week, hoping by next week everything should be taken care of.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
I have one comment.
Go ahead.
I have a real problem with people who buy properties on a regular basis and decide they're going to upgrade them, which is wonderful for them and may even be wonderful for the community. But to not take out things like permits after you've done the one or two of them seems to me a deliberate avoidance rather than just I forgot or I didn't know. And it doesn't mean I'm going to vote one way or the other, but I'm just concerned about this automatically not questioning why they continually do this. This isn't the first and the only one, and it's not the only one we're going to have. It seems to be a regular game that comes before us. Oh, we bought this property, let's go ahead, start, we'll wait till they catch us. That may not be their motive at all, but it appears that way to me after a certain number of these things, and I'm getting tired of it, and I'm getting tired of forgiving this all the time because it's setting a pattern up through not just here but throughout the state.
I have a question about that part.
Go ahead.
When somebody gets caught working without permits, when they go in to apply for the permit after the fact, aren't they fined extra for that also?
Yes, double.
So it's a double permit fee.
Well, in Midtown, they're waiving the fees right now. Right, so I don't know if this one was, but normally, yeah.
But you still need the permit. Yeah, I mean,
So,
that's got to be
anyway, I
clear to
had
everybody.
my say about it. I just
Yeah, okay. All right, Chair will
Could
entertain.
I comment on that?
Go ahead.
Make a quick comment on that. So, originally, yeah, I had a different contractor that started on this job, and he has since been let go because of this issue. He did not take those proper steps in getting these items, submitted, the proper paperwork, etc. So this has all come up because of it's on me, my due diligence as the owner, but making sure that he is doing the work. Again, that's no excuse, but once I found out that those things came up, the permits, the paperwork was not properly, submitted. I have since brought in a new contractor, and since hiring him, I mean, all of this has been taken care of smooth. So, yeah.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 3/1 to come into compliance, 3/1/23, or be returned to a meeting for, subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Such a motion?
Yes, so moved.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez motion, second Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay, so hopefully it'll all be done. You won't have to come back. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, case number 4, CEB 1-22-16, Maybelle Bazell. Anyone here? Okay. Mr. Butler.
Good morning. Spoke with her. She's not going to be able to attend. However, as pertains to 1058,
Wait a minute. Who's not? Maybelle?
actually her daughter, Mabel, is deceased. Miss Pratt.
Yeah, right. Miss Pratt, right.
Yes.
She showed at one point, right?
She's been here several times.
Okay. Yeah, since the case started in 21.
Mm-hmm. This is the probate case, just to bring you up to speed.
Okay.
Okay. Inspector Roosevelt Butler, credentials on file with the City of Daytona Beach. As it pertains to 1058 North Libby Court, since last month court proceedings, I've had several conversations with the property owner, which is Ms. Pratt, as well as the contractor. The city inspector is requesting that they remove several shingles from the roof since it was done without the permit. And at this time, they're backed up. So I'm requesting that we amend to the next cutoff for this. I've been in constant contact with permits and license to.
It's difficult to get a roofer to come out just to lift off a few shingles.
Well, it's not. It's really not that. It's the inspector for the city making the appointment to go out, and for the contractor to meet him there. I just spoke with the contractor on this week, and he's still saying he's waiting on the inspector from the city to meet him out at the property.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the procedure, is that the contractor comes and the city comes,
Yes.
and at that point is when the shingles are taken off.
Exactly. So he can look at the work
Yes, I got it.
to
Okay.
approve it. Yes, or disapprove.
So what are you asking?
Amend to the next cutoff.
Okay. Any comments? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance with all respondent until 3/1/2023 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for a fine of up to $1,000 a day. Such a motion. Ms. Himes made a motion. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Case number 5, CEB 10-22-235, Alan M. Horn. Here today, hasn't been here the last few times either. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Inspector Bostwick, credentials on file. All right, since the last hearing, I received a contract, a signed contract and a permit for New Horizon Roofing. They're going to be starting the project on February the 20th, so I would like to amend to the next cutoff.
Okay. Any discussion from the board? Chair will entertain a motion in previous order of non-compliance and allow respondent until March 1st, 2023 to come into compliance, be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration or fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Such a motion? Motion, Ms. Himes, second.
Second.
Thank you.
Second, Ms. Marsh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay, this will be case number 6, I think. Is this a Zoom case today? No more Zooms, okay. It was Zoom last time, okay. Case number 6, CEB 05-22-105. South Wild Olive LLC, care of Huberto Barrios. Anyone present? Okay.
Good morning. Inspector Yates, my credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, they've passed multiple inspections and continue to work under permit. Their most recent inspection was passed on January 20th, 2023. I'd like to amend compliance to the July hearing when the permit expires to allow the work to be completed.
So I'm assuming we're amending it to, you want it amended until July because there's so much to do and they're actually working on it.
Correct. They are going slowly, but every month they pass at least one inspection and continue to move forward.
Technically, that would be the July cutoff as opposed to the hearing date. Correct?
Yeah,
Mr.
yes, the July cutoff, yes, sir.
The July cutoff is 7/5.
I think that's a little long.
I do too.
How about 5 May cutoff?
I mean, really, we're just in February now. I don't, that's,
Because they could walk, I mean, not that they will, but they could walk away next month and just stop, so.
Absolutely.
Let's do cutoff of May.
that would be May 3rd. Any other discussion about this? All right, Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 5/3/2023 to come into compliance and return to a subsequent meeting for consideration or fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Roby, motion, Ms. Himes, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay. All right, case number 7, CEB 09-22-226, Vanish Sheriff.
Okay, since the last hearing, I've had almost daily contact with the owner, and he continues to work towards the demolition of the property. He's currently working with Sam Sula, but he's hit a delay in finding someone to remove the old oil tank. I'd like to amend the April hearing to allow the work to be finished.
Okay, so this building is slated for demolition.
Correct, and he's got the
fire there, right?
Yeah, there was a fire. He's got the demo company lined up. He's just working to find someone to remove. We've now found there's an old oil tank under there. It's several hundred gallons, so that complicates things a little bit, and that's not something that any company can just remove.
Okay. All right. So, recommending till when?
April?
How long does it take to, I mean, who removes something like that?
Honestly, I didn't even have a suggestion for him. Right now, he's working with the county, our building department. We didn't have any leads for him either. So currently, he's working with Lynch Oil was the latest one, who's trying to help him find somebody who does it in our area. Lynch Oil doesn't do it in our county, unfortunately.
So we don't have people in the county to do that? that you know of?
That I know of, no ma'am.
Right, okay. Uh-huh, I guess, and so, how much time did you say?
April?
April.
Yeah, there's somebody that does this every time they close a gas station down, they have
Yeah.
to remove the tanks.
Yeah.
It'd be the same people.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
They just
All
need
right.
time to do it.
Yep. Chair will entertain a motion to amend previous order non-compliance and allow respondent until 4/5/2023 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Marsh. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Okay.
All right, case number 8, CEB 10-22-228, PB Lands LP1 GP Inc. Good morning.
Hi there, how are you?
State your name and address for the record, please, and be sworn in.
Dana Spear, 2537 Dana Street, Edgewater, Florida, 2141.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Can you spell your last name for me?
Spear, S-P-E-E-R.
All right.
And what is your relationship to PB Lands?
Agent for the owner.
Your what?
Agent for the owner.
What kind of agent?
I work for them.
Okay.
Is this a rental property then?
Yes, yeah, it's a full renovation.
It's what?
It's a full renovation. They're tearing it down to just the walls and adding on to it. They'll be adding about 1,000 square feet.
So you and Mr. Yates have both advised them there's such a thing as a permit?
Yeah, and we did get the permit. Originally they started doing demolition before they had the permit in hand because they were working on plans for the building. And with the understanding it was okay to start with demolition, but I guess that was not the fact. So we stopped and halted and then went through a very long process to get the permits, which we did get recently. And now they're starting mobilization to get going on the renovation.
And if you keep going, you'll see now we got the dumpster outside, we got the silt fencing up, they've cleaned up the site to a degree. So we would like to amend to the March cutoff to see that the work is starting and getting completed.
Is this building for sale? It's just, no one's in it,
was.
right?
While we were in the process of getting the permit, they did put it up for sale just to see if we could get any hits because the permit process was taking so long. But they took it back off the market, so it's not for sale right now.
Question, when did your company take over this property?
It was, I believe it was August 2021, right around there. I don't know that, don't quote me on that, but somewhere there.
So, but you had it even before they got the note, that Kevin wrote the notice?
Yes, it was just before.
Okay, you bought the property and then got the notice?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so it's been, okay. Because the notice says, first notice in September of 2021. So what's been going on for a year and a half or better?
The permit process, we submitted everything for the permit in January of last year. And
January
it
of
took all the-
2022?
Yes,
Okay.
and then it took all the way until November 15th, I believe, is when they finally got everything approved for the permit. And it was, I mean, there were some things that they had asked us for, but we would turn them in and then it would be like 6 weeks, I would check back, there'd be.
Well, there were large gaps, though, where you guys didn't respond. That was a lot of the issue, to be clear.
Yeah, and there
Yeah.
were some things like electrical load calculations that took us a little bit, but what would happen is I would call and say, hey, do you have anything outstanding? Like, what's our status? And they would say, no, you're good, you have everything you need, but then I would call 2 months down the road to follow up again, and they would say, oh, you're missing this. And we had already submitted it, they didn't have it, so we started taking things into, like, in person, because we would submit it on the portal, they said they didn't see it, they didn't have it. So it was a lot of, like, back and forth. I mean, there were some times where it took us, like, 30 days, 45 days to get stuff back to them, but it looks to them like it was 4 months when they didn't tell us, they didn't communicate it to us. but they were still missing it. Like it was something we had already submitted.
Okay, what's going on right now?
So they have mobilization to move forward with the project. So they've got dumpster on site, they've done a little bit more demo. We had to clean up the property, from just like we've had vagrants coming and going. So they've secured the property to the best of their ability to stop them from coming and going. And forward with work, because we had, originally had them lined up last year to start work, but they had to put us down on the list because it took so long for the permitting.
Okay, Mr. Yates, what permits do they have?
They have a renovation permit, which would cover the addition as well as the mechanical, electrical, and demo. So they do have a complete permit for the work.
Okay.
But I really wouldn't want to go longer than a month. We need to see some more real progress. Like they said last time, they would have the trash cleared from the front, the roof debris, and they would have the dumpster out front and started. They have done that. So that's why my feeling is that while it has taken a while, and I haven't been happy with the progress up until now, which is how we got here, I would like to see if they continue to move forward just because they have.
Sounds reasonable to me. Chair will entertain a motion. Any comments?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
Along with Mr. Harrington's comment earlier, we also have companies that buy properties and they take their time and doing what they need to do. Then they do something right before our hearing to look good, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're trying. But what happened the rest of that time? Why was there no communication? Why wasn't there any progress in the project? So, I mean, that's just a question I'm throwing out there.
Right, I mean, according to the respondent, was that it was a lot of time in between permits and getting permits and
Well, that's
getting
what I'm
the wrong
saying.
permits and fixing things so
That's
they,
exactly what I'm saying. That's the easy way out, is to
Yeah.
blame the city.
yeah,
Well, but dealing with the city isn't as easy as.
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, but not all the time, and we get a lot of these type cases.
Yeah, that's,
Now
yeah.
that you have the permits,
another
what,
department.
when do you expect it to be actually complete?
I would say realistically, we're looking at like 10 months because it's almost like a full rebuild.
As long as you keep it up, we won't bother you.
I understand.
Well,
I understand.
I'm wondering, all right, let's just take it one step at a time. So, the chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 3/1 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Himes, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay, thank you. Mr. Klieg is next. Case number 9, CB 01-23-10. Melissa Farrington. Not many people want to show up today, huh? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Officer Clegg. My credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, I had contact with the homeowners. The progress has been made. They're waiting on a FEMA check and their homeowner's insurance check to finish the back patio here, was collapsed. Staff's recommending to amend the next cutoff. All other violations are corrected.
You said all the violations are correct.
Corrected except for the back pool there.
Except for the what?
The pool deck, the enclosure caved in.
Doesn't look like, okay.
So you're asking the next cutoff.
Yes, ma'am.
So is this pool an issue that, I mean, can people get back to that pool?
It fronts the golf course, but no one can get to it, the backyard.
Okay, so it's not,
It's not a life safety issue.
okay. That's what I'm asking. Next cutoff, is that what you're
Yes, ma'am.
recommending? All right. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance not responded until March 1st to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So, second.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Himes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion
Opposed.
carried. All right, motion carries and the vote is 5 to 1. 5 in favor. All right, another, Mr. Klieg, case number 10, CEB 01-23-13, Elnora S. Jackson at 532 Keach.
Yes, ma'am. Since the last hearing, had no contact with the owners, no progress. The city's recommending a $100 day fine, max to $10,000.
And never had any contact with
No,
them,
ma'am.
correct?
No, it was the police issue, no contact with the owner.
Is anyone living there?
Not at this time.
Thank goodness.
At some point, there was contact with the daughter?
Yes, ma'am. It was involved with a police issue. The daughter was inside the house, but doesn't live there.
So no one lives there, nothing's going on,
No.
and $100 a day?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this now up to 10K then, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any comments?
Is Elnora still alive?
As far as I know, I think she might be deceased, but there was nothing in probate.
Okay.
What's the starting date for the fine?
Today.
Today?
Today.
Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Gonzalez, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 11. Good morning, Mr. Alderman. CEB 01-23-17, Eric Stack at 380 Jefferson Street.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Steve Alderman, Neighborhood Services Inspector for the City of Daytona Beach. This particular property, there's been no contact since the last hearing. There's been no progress whatsoever, and the city is requesting a fine of $200 a day to a cap of $10,000.
Mr. Alderman, we're fining them for not performing the work. The permits have expired. That's a side issue since they haven't started anything.
Well, they've started a lot of projects.
They did.
This is for an expired permit.
So it's uncompleted work.
All incomplete, yes.
Okay.
Now, they did apply for a permit, and by the definition of the city, of the building official, it was specifically 45 days to get to final of all the expired permits. Would you like to see that letter?
No.
Okay.
Don't need to do that.
Meaning that that's all they had to do. But the problem is, if you look at that roof, it is nowhere near, even for the roof, as far as a inspection. The property's been in shambles for many years. It was actually opened March 15 of 2017,
The first one?
the first one.
Is this property vacant, I assume?
No, the owner lives in it.
Sure you want to do 200?
Pardon?
You sure you want to do 200?
Oh, that's up to us to decide. That's what the city's asking for. Any other?
His roof to this day? His roof is like that, just the plywood on it right now.
Well, it is partial. It was felted in a long time ago. The felt has deteriorated and blown around. Part of it has been roofed. There's been rumors that they've been up there trying to put some material on it, but as you can see, there's really nothing for them to work with. And there's a lot of incomplete stuff.
I'd like to make.
Go ahead.
That's the January photo up there.
Yeah. 125.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion.
All right.
Looking at the length of, I think you said 2017 is when all this started.
Yes.
But they weren't notified until 2029 of 2022.
Okay. So I would motion that we accept the city's recommendation in the case CEB 012317, Eric and Stack to begin a fine of $200 per day. I think the max is 15,000.
No, 10.
10,000. The max is 10,000 for this fine to start today.
All right. Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Gonzalez and a second from Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay, case number 12, CEB 01-23-21.
Since the last hearing, I've had...
Wait a minute, this is Yenzel, Christine Hadley, and Carletta L. Roundtree. Okay. And at 1045 Peter Road. Go ahead, Mr. Alderman, sorry.
Okay. Since the last hearing, I've had no contact. There's been no progress. The city is asking for a fine of $100 a day to $10,000.
Let's see these
How much
pictures.
today?
Oh,
Still
dear.
unsecured.
Yes, it is still unsecured. The tarp was, as she said, that she was going to get the window repaired and the tarp on the roof to stop the leaking. Nothing has happened.
And people actually live there?
No, it's been vacant for many years, and the only thing that's been done is the vegetation's been removed from most of the property. At least you can see how bad it is now.
Yeah, you sure can.
And your recommendation was?
Pardon?
100 a
Yes.
day.
My hope
So
was,
would it be up to 15 or up to 10? It's a-
well, from what I could see in the last, they've never had it rented, and it was family
Okay,
living
so
in
it's
it.
Never been rented. Okay. Now, this one, the owner was notified in September of 2021. So that's 2.5 years. So I'm wondering if this needs to be a little more to get them moving.
Well, it's just gonna reach the max faster that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess, okay.
It's not making her
That's-
move on it. So I don't know.
Yeah, probably, because nothing's been done, okay.
City's recommendation.
Okay. All right, Ms. Himes, making a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allowing respondent oh, I'm sorry. All right. Times is making a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today and continued until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000. There's a second. Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. All right, Mr. Harrington has left the room. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people to vote, okay? Case number 13.
Since the last hearing, I have been in contact with Arlene, the last remaining owner that is available, on February 6th of '23. There's been progress. A staff request to amend to the April cutoff. I also have the letter of verification from Bill Orander from the housing program, Neighborhood Services Housing Program, that she has been on the waiting list since November 25, 2020. She's also, because of the condition of the property, has applied for a roof and trying to do the roof herself immediately so that she can keep the water from doing any more damage to the interior, so that they can have something to work with.
Is that house secure?
Yes.
Okay.
The property has been fairly well maintained. There's not much landscape, but it's not bad.
Okay, no one lives there now,
No, not at this point, not at this time.
but the house is on the list of
The rehab list.
the rehab list.
Correct.
Okay.
And I verified the permit this morning. She has applied for it. She hasn't.
For
pa-
a roofing permit?
Correct. And that's the daughter. The original
Shirley
application was
Bynum,
done by the mother.
Deceased, right,
Yes.
okay.
That was 5/11 cut off.
4-5.
4 or 5. Any comments? All right, Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 4/5/2023 to come into compliance or return to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So,
Motion, Ms. Himes, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Case number 14, CEB 09-22-198, John Ridgely and Donna Stewart. Okay, so we didn't, please make a note, Mr. Harrington has returned. CEB 09-22-198, Ridgely and Stewart. We're rehearing this case, correct? Because there was a Scrivener's error because of a notification date, and that's all been corrected now, right?
Yes,
That's why we, okay?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Donna Stewart, 250 Pelican Avenue.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Stenson, what can you tell us?
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Code Inspector with the city. Since the last hearing, the physical work has been completed. As of yesterday, the notes in the record for the permit states that it just needs to be cleaned up before they'll sign off on the final. There's a little bit of construction debris still left on the sidewalk. But other than that, we are just waiting for the permit to be finalized, and I'd like to amend to the next cutoff for that.
Ms. Stewart, is there anything you'd like to tell us?
No, it's just crazy with the contractors, you know. He got the wall built quickly, you know. You can see my hedges. I didn't want to take that wall down. I had a lot of-
That what?
I had to take my wall, the whole wall down, my hedges. Anyway, he got the wall built. He just needs to come back and finish. He was there himself yesterday. You know, he had subcontractors that were doing the work.
What's left to be done?
According to the building inspector, the debris on the sidewalk needs to be removed and cleaned up, and then he'll sign off on the final
Where's the
inspection.
debris on the sidewalk?
You can see it on the far right where they have the sidewalk blocked off, those barriers.
Okay.
There's a couple of pieces of wood there.
We actually cut the wall back 12 feet so we could have access, because we never did walls. And that little part where he's finished. I have a picture of from this morning. He came and worked on all that. It
Okay,
looks a lot
no, that's
better.
all right. We're giving you till next month, so hopefully he'll be, well, I don't know that we are, but we're going to vote on that. Anybody have a comment? All right. Chair will entertain a motion, Ms. Himes made a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 3/1 to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day.
So
Is
moved.
there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, case number 15, CEB 01-23-05, Ronald Pavlower Estate. What do we have here?
Since the last hearing, there's been no contact and no change on the property. It continues to be in violation. City is asking for $100 per day to be capped at $10,000.
So he lives there? Well, does anybody live there?
I believe it's vacant. I don't think
Vacant.
anyone
But it's,
resides
okay.
there.
All right. And the only thing that they need to do is fix the landscaping?
That's correct. There's landscaping in the rear. You can't even get to the rear of the building. The landscape is basically taking over the back of the property.
Okay.
I motion to accept the city's recommendation of $100 per day.
Okay, Ms. Himes has made a motion to fine the respondent $100 per day effective today and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000. Second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Marsh, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carried. Oh, I'm sorry, it was Ms. Roby made a second. Okay. All right, case number Case number 16, CEB 01-23-09.
Here we go.
Spencer David Spearin and Scott William Spearin. Good morning. State your name and address for the record and be sworn in, please.
David Spear.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about the provided is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So you and Scott William Spearin are now the owners of the property?
Scott William.
Scott William Spearin
Correct.
is the owner of the property, and what is your relationship to him?
Father.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going,
Madam Chair, just to avoid some confusion there, David Spearin is this gentleman that's before you. Spencer Spearin is a different son. That's
Correct.
yeah. So the two people that are listed is Spencer Spearin and Scott, who are the two sons of Mr. David Spearin.
So Scott,
okay, so Spencer owns the property, and you have power of attorney.
Spencer did.
Spencer did own the property.
Correct.
And you had power of attorney, right?
Correct.
And now Scott William Spearin
Correct.
owns the property,
Correct.
and you are his father.
Correct.
And he's given you permission to represent him.
Well, if it's necessary, I would suppose, but, I mean, Scott's not on trial here today. We're still dealing with this issue, right? We're dealing with.
Nobody's on trial. This is
Well,
a hearing.
I mean, I'm responding again to this. Spencer David Spearin. I'm responding to that.
okay, but
Was Spencer David Spearin the owner at the time this violation
Correct.
was issued? Okay.
Okay, thank you. And now we're adding the new owner.
And can I ask just, how did Scott get adjoined to the matter? Is that a rule or regulation, a stipulation, a policy? How did Scott get added to it?
He's the new owner, and the violation is still.
How far forward do new owners keep getting added on to an old compliance issue?
Until compliance is achieved.
Okay. I guess that's a rule, right? I mean, is that a?
That's correct.
Is that a policy or is that a rule? Or?
By statute.
Oh, what's this? Could I get that statute, sir?
It's in chapter
Public
162.
I just saw, when I saw the asterisk by his name, Scott, it just gave me a puzzle for a moment, and I just wanted to know, what is that statute for being able to adjoin this, a new owner onto a
Yeah.
previous case?
Yeah. I
It's
do
not a previous case, it's an ongoing case. There was a violation And the violation, if I understand from what has been said so far, the
Yes.
violation has not been remedied. Now
Correct.
there is a new owner who still has an obligation to remedy that violation.
And I believe that,
And I assume he's been
I believe
served.
that's been taken care, yes.
There was notice sent to him?
The violation is against the property.
Yes.
Regardless of who owns it, and it will
Yes.
continue no matter how many times you sell it. That
Or
violation,
how-
until that
however many
violation is settled.
However many times it's
20,
sold.
30, 40, keep selling.
However many
Okay, let's
times
move
it-
on. Yeah, okay, I think everybody has a clear understanding that this property is here, is an ongoing case.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Stenson, what would you like to tell us?
Yes, ma'am. We would like to amend this case to allow the property owners to obtain the permit that they have applied for to correct the violations. We'd like to amend this case to the next cutoff.
Is the parking in the yard taken care of?
I'm sorry, yes.
Wait a minute. What permits have been applied for?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I didn't
What-
catch that last
That's
one.
okay. What permits have been applied for?
He's applied for the permitting for the vinyl siding on the building.
How about the roof?
No, there's no permit for the roof. This is the only
They need a
permit.
permit for the roof?
It was cosmetic fascia. It was, there
So-
you go, right there.
So they don't need a permit for the roof?
No, the only thing that's on the table now is
Okay,
the
is
siding.
vinyl siding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you'd like to amend this to the next cutoff because they have gotten a permit,
They have made application. for
made
the permit.
application for a permit. And when was that made?
That application was made February 7th.
Okay.
Mr. Stenson, just to be clear, has the roof issue been remedied?
Yes.
Okay, so we are just dealing with the vinyl siding. That's the unpermitted renovation. Okay. All right.
Again, you're asking for a continuance so that a permit for the vinyl siding can be,
It's not really continuous,
The permit needs to be obtained, and then the building department will perform their
but
inspection
he
to see
has
if the work is
applied
done.
for the permit.
to apply for, okay.
The chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until March 1st, 2023 to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there?
So moved, second.
All right, who'd like to make the motion?
Thank you.
We said both motions.
All right, Ms. Himes' motion, Mr. Gonzalez, the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay. All right, case number 17 are our new cases. Now, any of you that are here for new cases, just let me explain that we're not here to do any finding yet. We're going to look and listen to the testimony and see whether you're in compliance or you're not in compliance. We listen to the code inspectors and we look at the pictures, and we'll give you a chance to say something if you'd like. But, you know, it's pretty straightforward, and you get 30 days to come into compliance, unless there's something terrible going on that's a life safety issue. Okay, so
I need to
let's,
step out.
okay, all right. Mr. Gonzalez is stepping out. All right, so we'll start with case number 17, CEB 02-23-26. Aronogert Zutaj.
Yes, this case was open for no permit for an addition, a concrete drive, concreting the backyard, an accessory structure in the backyard, and for fence. You can see on this slide all the different areas where the arrows are that were different things that were done without permits. First notice was received on August 2nd, 2022, with compliance due September 23rd, 2022. I have received contact from the architect who says they're going to try to apply for a variance because of everything that was done. At this time, nothing has been submitted, so we're asking for an order of noncompliance with compliance due next cutoff.
No permits, no nothing, right?
No permits for the concrete drive that they did along the backside. There's an addition, which is the second arrow on the right, or the first arrow on the right, and then there's some sort of structure, like a carport type of thing that they built in the backyard, and also then a new fence that they
Do you
installed.
have a picture of the original house?
Well, the original house is that structure. That is the front of the house.
That's the front of the original house.
That is the front of the house as it stands now, which is, as you can see on the lower right of that one slide, that is the front of the house, right,
Where?
where the arrow's going back and forth.
Uh-huh.
That is the front of the house on Foot Court.
And then all behind that is all this,
Yes, the property is probably almost 100% either concreted in or has a building on it.
okay. Any other questions or comments?
And this person has owned it the entire time?
I don't know how long he's owned it. I mean, I know he's been the owner for a time.
He's an owner now, he's the owner now.
But he is the owner at this
Oh,
time,
right.
yeah.
But I mean, if he didn't do the work and he just bought it after that was all done,
It still is a requirement to have a permit for any work that was done on the parcel, whether it was done before he bought it or after he bought it.
I think what she was asking, was it grandfathered in or something?
yeah.
Yeah, there'd be no grandfathering of permits that are required. And the work was, and that's why they are going in for a variance, talking with the architect. They're going to try to go into the city with the variance because they have, in reality, they have too much coverage for that parcel, but they may be able to get a variance for it.
Does this is Mr., yes, Zutaj
I have never
live
talked
there?
with the
You've
owner
never
at all.
spoken to owner?
I've only, communication I've had is from the architect. It's an architect, I think, out in, I believe in Orlando.
oh, you
A small
don't, we
firm.
don't know if he actually lives there, if it's being rented.
I'm from what conversations I've had with other individuals on Foot Court, I do believe the owner lives there, but I have no proof
Okay.
because I have not talked with him.
All right, okay. For the record, Mr. Gonzalez is back. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and the respondent committed to compliance by the next cutoff date, 3/1/23, will be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion? Motion, Ms. Himes, second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Marsh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, case number 18 is in compliance. Case number 19, CEB 02-23-33, Patrick Samuel O'Leary. And this is Mr. Klieg again. Mr. O'Leary here?
Someone's
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. State your name and address for the record, please.
Samuel O'Leary, 137 Gold Drive South.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Klieg?
Yes, ma'am. It's a complaint-driven call by the HOA at Pelican Bay, first notified December 31st of 2022, compliance date of January 10th of 23. It's for the junk vehicle improperly placed in his driveway.
Is it tagged and licensed?
Yes.
Then it's not a junk vehicle.
Mr. O'Leary, have you had contact with your HOA on, because they're normally responsible?
I talked to them on Monday. She called me and I told them that it was tagged, it was licensed, runs.
It
It's-
does run?
Yes, it runs. I got video of it
Is
running
there some,
this morning.
something in the HOA says you can't have work trucks?
It's not a work truck. It's actually it's my woods truck. It's a hunting truck. It's a daily driver as well, but
that
I got a
what they
1 and a
say?
3-year-old and I work 714s currently for the last like 4 months, so I don't really have time to hunt at the moment, unfortunately.
I mean, they're complaining about something.
Yeah, that's it. And I know what it is. I've been told by numerous people it is the president of the HOA, because we're a sub HOA in Pelican Bay, the villas. He don't like the color of it, unfortunately.
I don't
I
know
don't
whether
complain
it's
about
the
his white walls,
color
but-
that would be complaining about. Tell me what the block is of wood.
So
across the
I
top.
do all my own home renovations. Basically, I've tiled, I've replaced some doors. The blocks in the back was a patio that I built in the back. You know, added. And I'm not so much as a hoarder, but I don't throw a ton of stuff away until I'm complete with everything. Because you know, some of those blocks of woods I use to for framing and. I mean, I could bring it in the garage.
You're
I mean, it's.
the owner of that
Yes.
property? What is the block of wood in front of the tire?
Well, that was when I work on it, change the oil, or I don't want it to roll over on me.
You have room in the garage?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, to put the vehicle in.
Can I ask another question?
Mm-hmm.
Can you find out if you could put a cover over it?
They told me I could put a tarp over it. Would you like to see a tarp, or what's?
All right. Okay, it's not what we'd like to see.
No, and I've talked to the HOA. I'm sorry, I talked to them on Monday, and they said I was fine.
And we're fine too, as long as it's tagged. I mean, we can't regulate the color.
I've got
So
the
we
tag
have-
and
So
insurance.
there's nothing the city can do, it doesn't, and it operates, it's tagged and
Yep.
it's licensed.
Right.
So there's nothing for us.
No, the way it looks, we can't regulate.
deal with. So what is your recommendation?
Until I get with them, non-compliance next cutoff.
Mr.
But
Jones,
he's in compliance.
what
Yeah.
is the,
He's
what
in
is the non-compliance?
There was no tag on it when I went out there.
And I've put it inside because my tag one has been stolen once, and my vehicle has been stolen from there as well. So
From Pelican Bay?
yeah, that's what I said. My tag, you can't see it but it's
okay.
behind my thing.
All right,
Yeah,
we're
that's what
getting
I
off
said.
track here. I mean, so we're finding this case, well, we're going to find it non-compliance, a next cutoff,
cutoff.
and then what do you have to do to,
I'll get with them, get the tag number, and go out there and make sure it runs.
okay.
You know, we're in compliance.
Everybody understand that? All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 3/1/2023, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
That's
All right,
okay.
case number 20, CEB 02-23-39. William Hart on Loomis, 879 Loomis. No show. Okay.
Okay, this is a field-generated Rule of 6 case that was opened June 22nd of 22. First notice was September 6th of 2022. I've had no contact with the owner. There has been a permit for the new windows that were installed after the fact permit that was approved this morning. Staff is recommending an order of non-compliance with compliance by the next cutoff.
Because the permit needs to be finalized.
Right, it was just approved this morning.
Okay, any questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent committed compliance by the next cutoff date, 3/1/2023, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Motion, Ms. Roby, second, Ms. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case number 21, CEB 02-23-25 Malik Art LLC at 934 West Millard Court. There you are.
Hello, good morning. Sorry
Good
for the
morning.
voice allergies.
State your name and address for the record.
Roger Davis, 6167 Harbortown Court, Orlando, Florida, 32819.
What is your relation to, oh, I'm sorry, be sworn in.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your name for me?
Roger Davis, RODGER.
Do you solemnly swear, I'm sorry, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can pull the microphone up. So you don't have to
Thank you.
What is your relationship to Malik or Malik?
I'm the manager and part owner as well, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, we're going to hear from Mr. Butler, and then I'll give you a chance to talk. Go ahead, Mr. Butler.
Once again, good morning. As it pertains to 934 West Millard Court, this is the field-generated case. I conducted a site inspection on January the 21st, 2022, where it was determined the property had the following violations: landscaping, dirt and grime, damaged exterior, damaged interior, and work without permit. The first notice was received on July 28, 2022. On August 26, 2022, the violation was to be in compliance. Last date of reinspection was January the 5th, 2023. Result of my reinspection was non-compliance. I've had contact with the owner. Staff requests non-compliance, compliance, next cutoff.
What is the I see the windows there. Are they, what's in the windows? I mean, are they,
I don't think there's anything in there.
is there anything in there? It's hard for me to tell.
Well, on the inside, there's beams. I mean, of course, where they're starting to put it back together. No.
No glass, no covering.
The only thing that was covered was that bottom window.
Right, I see
And
that.
apparently someone has removed that because I got pictures with it on it. So we'll talk after this, but yeah.
Are these occupied units?
No. Around them, there's people in other units, but
We're
that
just
particular
talking
unit.
about this one unit?
Yes, that one unit. That one unit.
Okay.
Mr. Davis?
What, do you have a unit number? Doesn't matter? I think it does. Do we have a unit
No,
number
ma'am.
for that?
Yes,
It has
ma'am.
an address.
It has its own address?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Was it a fire or?
To my understanding, it was a elderly gentleman there that had dementia, and some homeless people moved in. He got very ill. They did some drugs, and a fire started in the bathroom upstairs to the right.
Mr. Davis, you heard my previous babbling about not
I did, yes, sir.
Please, no
Well,
more.
Absolutely. Well, in this case, it's a unique thing. I'm from Orlando, so I don't really know the contractors here in Daytona Beach. I was referred to a guy who said he was a general contractor. I gave him $14,000 to start the work. He put some stairs in, and he left. Due to that, taking a hit, we tried to sell the property. Given the liens on the home, we tried to sell it, but nobody would touch it, considering the liens. I did have one guy who was a potential buyer, but he wanted me to pay him $30,000, basically toward the liens to sell the house. I don't have $30,000, so unfortunately I wasn't able to do that. I found another contractor that said that he would come in, he was going to buy the home. He was partnered with another guy. Given the liens again, they wouldn't take it on, but he did say that he would fix the house for me. Currently, we are trying to work with the city of Daytona for the licensing and division permit. However, it is very difficult to reach these individuals, and considering we are not in Daytona Beach, it's very hard to drive back and forth with my own 9-to-5 job to try to get this in compliance. Within the last week, we have touched base with them. They have given us a notice that when it was turned in, it was incorrect. I spoke to my contractor this morning. It will be submitted again today. He's dealing with a young lady. I'm not sure of her name, but we are trying our best to get ourselves to compliance with the property. Just considering with everything going on, then with COVID hitting, a lot of things it was just
How long
backed
have you
up.
owned the property?
Now going on 2.5 years, ma'am.
How long?
About 2.5 years or so.
But it already has liens on the property?
Yes, ma'am. The individual who owned it, he passed away. His wife is still currently living. We didn't really understand how the liens came to us when she still living here, still living. We're not really sure about that, but that's neither here nor there. I know we own the property, so we are responsible for it. So we are just trying to come into
Okay.
compliance with you guys.
So you're now a graduate of the Daytona Beach Real Estate School that everybody.
I am learning very quickly, sir.
So what was your recommendation?
Recommend non-compliance, compliance to the next cutoff.
Yeah, we'd like to see some real,
Yes, ma'am. And I just wanted to also, we also have the windows already ordered by a Baca Window Company. However, we can't add the windows until the permits get passed.
Right.
But we are in progress of having it worked on now.
Okay.
We're just waiting for the permits to get passed.
okay. Chair will entertain a motion for my respondent in non-compliance or respondent commit to compliance by the next cutoff date, March 1st, 2023, or be returned to the board for consideration and fine of up to $1,000 per day. So,
So moved.
I got a question.
all right, we don't have a motion yet. Go ahead.
Well, I made the motion before she.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's have a motion. We have a motion of Mr. Gonzalez. Do we have a second? All right, now we'll have second, Ms. Himes. Now we can have discussion. Go ahead.
Could they apply for a lien reduction before?
I don't think they're necessarily code liens, are they?
I do believe they are, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh, they are code liens?
I do believe they are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Madam
I
Chair,
It's
could
not
I
up to us to, go ahead, please.
Generally, the answer is no. The general requirement is that the property is brought into compliance before anyone applies for
Right.
lien reduction.
Right.
Or lien modification.
But didn't we, I mean, we've added people on to the liens before when they bought. I don't understand how this woman didn't stay on this. If they were code liens, how they purchased this property.
Don't know enough, and sure, well, maybe on the lien, I don't know anything about that. But the general policy as it relates to whether or not someone can come forward and ask for a lien reduction or lien modification would be after the property is in full compliance.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Case number 22, CEB 02-23-30, Edward Alexander and Dolores Alexander.
Okay. As pertains to 925 West Millett Court, this case was a field-generated
Oh.
case. I conducted a site inspection on July 21st, 2022, where it was determined the property had the following violations: dirt and grind, junk vehicles, damaged roof and soffit, and damaged windows. A first notice received on August 1st, 2022. On August 31st, 2022, the violation was to be in compliance. Last date of reinspection was January the 5th, 2023. Result of my reinspection was non-compliance. I've had no contact with the owner. Staff requests non-compliance, compliance, next cutoff.
Does anyone live there?
No, ma'am. Just found out on yesterday the owner is in Jacksonville, and I am trying my best to get in contact with him.
How many units are in this Millard Court?
It's several, maybe a few hundred.
What?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's on me. That's on me.
That's not good.
No.
All right, so.
It was
we're
the one,
not-
but it was the pictures before that. That's the same complex.
Right.
And it's the unit
Can we
across
go
the street
back
from
and
there.
look at those pictures for a second? I'm gonna-
That's my picture. My God. I know I didn't make a mistake. That's my
Now,
picture.
what?
That
My
makes
supervisor's sitting there, so he sees it. That's my picture.
All right, so that's the picture of 925? What, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're looking at dirt and grime, junk vehicle, dilapidated roof, and damaged windows.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So, All right. And so next cutoff, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent in compliance by the next cutoff date, March 1st, 2023, will be returned to the board for consideration, fine of up to $1,000 per day.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case number 23, CEB 02-23-29, Paul Spears. Spihar, it is. That would have been my second guess. Okay.
Will you state your name and address for the record, sir?
Okay, it's Paul Spihar, 350 Euclid Avenue, Daytona Beach, 32118.
Will you raise your right hand?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to hear from Mr. Stenson. Then we'll let you speak, sir.
Good morning, John Stinson, Code Inspector with the city. Qualification on file. This case is a field-generated repeat violation for the unmaintained landscaping, the junk vehicle, and the exterior. We're asking for a one-time occurrence penalty of $100 for the repeat violation.
The repeat violation was which, the junk vehicle, is that?
All three: the junk vehicle, the landscaping, and the exterior staining.
Mold.
You in compliance now?
No, ma'am.
Not in compliance now. Okay.
But you're asking for the $100 fine for the repeat.
Yes, ma'am.
For the what?
For the repeat violation.
Oh. The vehicle is tagged.
If he's not in compliance now, and if we fine him, what happens tomorrow?
Next month, you mean?
No, I mean, he's not in compliance today. So,
So he's fined until he is in
All right, let's let Mr. Spihar speak, and then we'll ask some questions. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the truck does have a tag on it, but I wanted to fix it up, but I'm just gonna have it taken to the junkyard now and just take the tag. It's been insured too all this time. But I'm gonna get rid of that. I see the mold. I'll have to get rid of that. The back there, what was it, about a year and a half ago, I paid somebody $1,900 to get all that invasive plants out of there. And there's still a little bit back there you can see where he didn't take it all away. I can't run my mower over that because there's branches laying on the ground yet, so I got to pay somebody else to take those out. But I can take care of the truck and the dirt right now. And the paint I can work on, I can do that myself. I can knock down some of the weeds that are covering those branches with my weed eater in the back. Like I said, I can't run my mower over those branches, it'll break it.
Can you get rid of the branches?
Yeah,
Because
they're kind of embedded in the ground and such. There's some of them, it was a trumpet vine, it's got beautiful flowers, but it goes everywhere. And then potato vine mixture.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a job to get that out of there. But I've been spraying it with brush killer to keep it from coming back. Because, yeah, it's really hard to kill. But that I'll have to hire somebody to go back there and probably get a small front end loader and just scrape that out and put it in a trailer and haul it off. I'm not sure what that'll cost yet. But the vines, I can get my ladder and go up on the roof. They're up underneath the ridge caps there, so I got to get up there and make sure I don't damage my roof, you know.
All right, what is the repeat violation, Mr. Stenson? All of it?
Yes, ma'am, all of it.
The unmaintained landscape, the junk vehicle. When was the first The violation was 4/21. Is that right? April 21st?
I don't have the date of the case, but the case number was CEB 421-01.
Yeah, that was it, okay.
07, rather.
I'm wondering why we're imposing,
He said because of the repeat.
Well,
I know, I see. So the exact same violations that, did you come before the board then?
yeah, Kevin Yates was the one at the time, and he told me that after I had that stuff removed out of the back, I was in compliance. And so I kind of relaxed. Plus, I had hernia surgery last March, which was another whole deal. But, so I kind of paid attention to other things. So now I got a rude awakening. See, I work nights. So trying to reach me while I'm sleeping is kind of hard to do. So I'm not sure if I was
Okay.
tried to contact.
I need to understand what we're doing here. Are we doing a will fine? Are we doing an auto fine? What are we doing?
Yeah, I can help,
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair. Anthony Jackson, attorney for the city. I know I spoke before, never put my name on record. For a will fine, there's several things. I mean, for a repeat violation, there's several things to consider. First, really need to find that he's in non-compliant on the same issue that he was in non-compliant on previously, which has been alleged by the city, and I think he agrees with that the things that he was found in non-compliance previously now have been brought into compliance based on the representation of the city, and now he's back in non-compliant on those same issues. So you want to make a finding of compliance or non-compliance. What the statute allows is that he's not, because it is repeat violation, he's subject to being fined. So what we normally do is ask for a fine to be imposed. Because the circumstances that the property now remains in non-compliance as to these new reoccurred but new events, that we probably need to give him time. So we need to make a finding of non-compliance with a time to comply on these new events, but also we're seeking a fine as to the point of it being repeated. So they're asking for $100 fine, or staff is asking for a $100 fine as to these matters being repeated, but we're also asking that he be given time to comply on these new repeated violations, which would be for the next cutoff. And if indeed he doesn't come into compliance, then we'd ask for additional fining.
So the chair is going to, let's see. So the motion is going to be to impose a fine of $100 for the date of noncompliance?
For the prior violations that are now being repeated.
It's for the repeat part of the violation. But the violation itself is still ongoing, so he's in noncompliance until such times it's actually remedied.
So
So
the
an
cha-
additional fine could be levied or imposed.
All right, so
That's correct. That's our position.
to make, the motion would be to find respondent in noncompliance and to impose a fine of $100 for the date of compliance?
For for the prior violation and the repeat of that violation.
Repeat.
Yes.
But
Wait.
have to
Got
get
that?
them into compliance in, say, 2 weeks, correct? Because we got to give them time to come to compliance.
We actually have two things happening here, and the confusion is that typically when we have a repeat violation, it's a repeat. It's the nature of the violation is one where when we come back, it's already resolved.
Right.
And because it's already resolved, we're only asking for a fine. In this situation, we actually have two cases going. We have the fact that it's repeat violation, which allows us to ask for this fixed fine, but we still have an active violation. That's the nature of what the repeat is.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
because that exists, we need to remedy the existing new violation that's repeating the prior violation.
All right.
So, Mr. Jackson, if he doesn't remedy the violation by the next cutoff, he would be back before the board again, and then the board could then impose a per diem fine on him at that point.
That's correct. It would be as if we're starting from stage 2, recognizing the historic fact that we have had this prior violation. Our ability to fine right now is because we had the historic violation as an additional penalty, which is what's allowed in statute.
So my question is, if we're gonna fine him on a violation, then what is the, to use your word, per diem, what dates with the fine, since you're saying daily?
No, it's not a daily fine, it's a one-time fine.
So much time to fix this one, but he's gonna be fined $100 for coming and doing.
Having the same thing again, yes.
For a
Definitely.
repeat violation. Do we need to have a date for the repeat violation? That would be
Today.
today?
I think,
The date for the repeat violation is 13 January 23.
And you're describing that, I'm sorry, you're describing that it's the date when you observed these violations and afterwards you've determined that they
All right,
were
so-
prior violations.
all right, let me see
that's
if
been
this
repeated.
is right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Someone needs to make a motion to impose a fine of $100 for the repeat violation on the date of 1/23/23.
113.
113.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1/13/23. And
And
Find
he's
the
found in
property in
non-compliance.
and find the property in non-compliance, and for any repeat violation be returned for a subsequent.
No,
No?
just in non-compliance, and it'll be,
Okay.
and he'll
To
be given
become in
until the
compliance.
next cutoff date to
Okay.
remedy
Does it
it.
have to be in one
Compliance.
motion, or can
All
it
right.
be two separate motions?
You want to do two separate motions?
One is we're fining $100 for the
Right.
repeat violation.
Correct.
And we find, second, we're fining them in non-compliance. They have to come back by
Right.
next cutoff or be face a fine.
All right, is that, I mean, we can combine that, that's exactly what we're doing.
I'd rather just do it in two separate things.
You want to
Much
do it in
clearer.
two separate things.
Yeah.
All right, so,
But you could do the two as part of one motion. It's just
Okay.
two sentences instead of one long run-on
Right.
sentence.
okay.
So make the motion.
He made it.
I think we depend on you to make motions.
Okay.
I
All
can
right.
try if you want.
Fine, they-
Go ahead.
Okay. In the case of CEB 02-23-29, we find Mr. Behar in violation of the first offense for CEB 0421-107 and will be fined a penalty of $100 and is in non-compliance of his property at 350 Elucid Avenue and should come into compliance by the cutoff of March 1st or be subject to penalty and fines
Of up to
of up to $1,000 a day.
Second.
Ms. Roby, it might be good, I don't know if I heard the word repeat in that
Right,
first
you have to
part,
say
because
repeat.
this is a repeat, and the statute talks to repeat, and so it's nice to use the statutory words.
Sorry to be so obtuse, I just want to get it right. That's all, I just want it right. So, will you amend to say for the
Yes,
repeat
I'd like to
violation?
amend my motion to add the repeat
Okay.
violation.
All right, we have an amended motion from Ms. Roby.
Oh, and the fine has to be paid within 30 days? Is that,
I don't know.
or,
No, this isn't a
Okay.
lien reduction.
Okay. All right,
Second.
and we have a second from Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Mr. Spehar, just so you understand, the board has fined you $100 for Mr. Stinson coming back and finding that the property was once again in violation on January 13th,
Yeah.
2023.
Thank
They have,
you.
the board has also found, and for that you have to pay, you are been fined $100.
Okay.
you also have an obligation to remedy this violation, and you have been given until the next cutoff date, which I believe is
3/1.
March
Yes.
3/1, to get it resolved. Otherwise, you're back here, and you would potentially have a per diem fine, which could be $100 or $50 per day, and that adds up real quick. And so it would be in your best interest to remedy those problems as quickly as you can and work with Mr. Stenson and hopefully satisfy him that these violations have been remedied. Then that would resolve the matter.
Yeah, it cost me money when I gotta change to first shift to meet these meetings. Yeah. All right, I thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna get rid of the stuff I can get rid of
Okay.
and the things I can do myself, and I'll
Good.
start looking for somebody to pull the remainders in the back.
Okay, good. That'll be fine. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Stay in contact.
Yeah, and make sure when you have that done that you call him and tell him it's finished, the work's finished.
Okay. Oh, and where to pay?
Okay, case number 24, CEB 02-23-31, Manuel Corbia. Good morning. State your name and address for the record and be sworn in, please.
Manuel Corbea, 445 Zelda Boulevard.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Right.
Take the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Stenson, 445 Zelda Boulevard.
Yes, ma'am. This complaint was generated by the building.
Oh, that one, okay.
Those are the right pictures.
Excuse me, she stepped out.
Okay, Mrs. Himes has stepped out.
This was a complaint driven from the building department for lack of permits for the work that was being done on the property. Since then, they have applied for the permit. They're waiting for it to be approved and issued. But we're asking for a finding of noncompliance and compliance by the next cutoff.
So there are no, what exactly is the permit that we're getting?
Windows. Windows.
What?
A window permit.
Windows?
Yep,
Yeah, they're blocking up window openings and opening new windows, right?
that is correct.
Oh, so you blocked up some windows and opened new windows without a permit?
That's correct.
Okay, got it.
But that's not on here, though.
But it doesn't really, it's not clear, but I get it. It doesn't say windows there, that's why I asked. It is for windows.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody live there?
I do.
You live there.
Mhm.
And you've applied for the permit?
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Did you just apply for the permit, or has the permit been given?
Last week.
Last week you applied for it?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No other questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance or respondent committed to compliance by the next cutoff or be returned to the board, which is March 1st, or be returned to the board for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a
So
motion.
moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Marsh. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. All right, we only have one more case, which would be case number 25, CEB 02-23-34, Barbara Morgan at 209 Fremont. Not here.
And before we begin, and I have a correction to announce, the first notified date is going to be July 15th, 2022. Not what's...
7/15/22.
Yes, ma'am.
And is a corrected date. Okay, hold on.
The first notice date is going to be July 15th, 2022.
Does that need to be corrected any other place but at this board? Does she need a correction of that? Has she received a correction of that?
I don't believe that she has received a correction of that date.
I don't think she's too concerned she didn't come.
It'll be corrected in the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, go right ahead.
All right. This case was opened June 21st, 2022, when it was field generated. The notice of violation was issued for dilapidated fence and landscaping. They were first notified July 15th, 2022, and compliance was due by August 14th, 2022. I've had contact with the owner, but the issue remains. I'd like to ask for a finding of noncompliance with compliance due at the next hearing, the next cutoff, excuse me.
All right, so let's see, dilapidated fence and overgrown landscaping. Look at that.
She corrected part of the fence. It started out with a full fence, but she ripped down the boards now, and we just have that.
I hasn't put them back up.
And yeah, and I mean, we've definitely tried to work with her, even tried to reach out and offer her some community assistance to just, help her cut that down, but unfortunately, she hasn't been responsive.
No, it's fine. Huh. Okay. Chair, Ms. Himes has returned. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent noncompliance or respondent into compliance by the next cutoff date, March 1st, 2023, or be returned to the board for consideration and a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? Motion, Ms. Roby, second. Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Any miscellaneous business?
Well, we got this little folder in here.
What little folder?
Supreme Court of Florida.
Oh, yeah. Who put that in there?
That was from Mr. Sino
Mr. Sino.
from the
You know how
January
he
meeting. I forgot to put it
periodically,
last
when he
month.
finds,
Oh, okay.
when he finds something that pertains to code cases, he puts them in our packet for us just to take a look at. Do you have any questions about it? We have a couple attorneys here that could tell us about it.
Yeah, could you give us the summary?
Yeah.
Briefing?
Actually, we did not, I don't have a copy of it. It was not provided
Oh,
in error. It wasn't provided.
oh, and you don't either?
Me or Mr. Vigil. So, I'll be happy to take a look at it. Of course, your counsel,
Yeah.
whether it's Mr. Vigil or Charles.
Yeah, 'cause I
Mr.
mean-
Sino will be able to, we often would address those once we
Right.
get those changes in the law or information, legal information that he wants to share. So I'd be happy to talk about it, but I don't have the case before me, so I don't have that.
Well,
Right.
could I ask that maybe for our next meeting, you guys can give us a little breakdown or something?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, we can talk about it. I mean, what I
I don't wanna
understood.
talk about it, I just, want a
Oh.
little breakdown on it, what,
Be happy
Okay.
to once.
All right, we'll
once
do
have a
that
copy
next
of the
meeting.
case,
Okay,
and I'm
fine.
I'll make sure you get one.
cause I mean, we're not lawyers, we can read it, but
But in other words, they just.
it's an interpretation of the law, right?
In other words, you can't tell the city what to do.
The law is what the last attorney said it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm asking the attorney.
You can't tell the city what to do.
Okay,
I'm asking,
meeting adjourned.
just asking.